Hey, it's Nay. Get ready for all things educating, all things motivating, and all things inspiring. Welcome to my second episode of Tea Time with Nay, where I interview two of my lovely, beautiful friends, Tanasia and Jaquira Evans, who, by the way, might I add, are sisters, as we talk about the lives of young entrepreneurs, finding out your sole purpose, and having a great support system. I promise you there is no way you will not become inspired from this discussion. I call this one Sister Sister. Don't miss out on all the tea of standing out, starting small, staying humble, and never giving up. This is Tea Time with Nay. So my first question is, what kind of tea are you sipping on?
Okay, this is green tea. I have green tea, ginger tea, and mullein tea.
I got green tea too, so hey.
There we go.
All right.
Because we were rushing, so it's
She told me.
It's ginger.
She told me to pick whatever I wanted. That's over there. And she comes over here and she was like, I hate ginger. Like, how am I supposed to know that? You didn't say that. You said put whatever you want.
Aw. Queer is just over there saying like, yeah. Okay, so for my viewers, I would like you guys to introduce yourselves. So you guys can start off with your names and like what you're all about, what you do. Whoever wants to go first can go first.
You want to go first? Go ahead. I knew you was going to say that. Okay. So I'm Tanasia Evans. That's her normal name. I'm Tanasia Evans. I'm 23. And I feel like I'm in like an AA meeting. Basically, well, I'm in charge of Picky Pastries, which is a branch of Pekuliar Eatz. It's our own business that we made together, me and my mother, because we both enjoy cooking. I like baking as well. But I'm also still going to school to be a lawyer, so...
Wait, you're going to school to be a lawyer? I didn't know that! I never knew that.
I took the test. I'm going to take it again, so I didn't like my score that I got. I'm going to take it again, and then hopefully I will be starting law school in fall 2021? Or is this fall 2021?
No, fall didn't happen yet.
Maybe 2022, I don't know.
Well, girl, you go. You go, girl. That's all I have to say.
Okay, well, I'm Jaquira Evans, of course. We share the same name. But I'm 21, and we saying what we do.
Yeah, you can share a little bit what you do.
Well, I'm the owner of Beauty Cosmetics. I make beauty products such as soap, oils, body butters, soon to be, more scrubs. I'm looking to add a whole lot more to my line. That's about it. I basically just do everything beauty.
Awesome. Okay. As I could tell, as a young entrepreneur, what is it like owning your own business, the ins and outs? I bet you have been frustrated many times, but like, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with all this stress? Let me know.
So, I think the biggest thing is having a strong support system, and I feel like everyone says that, but it is true.
It is
a
true.
lot of situations. Basically, what motivates us, for real, is seeing our dad. He's the one who started it in our family, like back when we were kids, back in 2007. He just like quit his job one day, just walked out, came home, and was like, yeah.
What?
He was like, this is what I want to do. He had the blueprint set up for his business, and he's basically just been working at it nonstop for years. Like, we're just now owning our own facility and like having something that's totally ours. And not only did it take him years to get there because he was running out of other locations, but he put his family on. So whatever he was doing, he made sure we had a spot too. And he always put in our mind that both of our parents, actually, my mom always raised us to have a plan A and B. It's, she always wanted us to go to school and to graduate college. But as we got older, we just kind of figured out like our own, is it niche, whatever. We figured out our own spots and like what works for us. And I'm a schoolgirl. I love education.
but that didn't work out. I quit after my first semester. It just wasn't for me, so I had to find whatever I wanted to do. But, you know, once I just took the time and sat down, you know, counseled with God and figured out, like, what I actually wanted to do and, you know, what I love and who I am, I figured out that, you know, beauty was the path that I wanted to go down and owning my own business. And it's definitely hard as a young entrepreneur, especially, you know, learning how to be equipped financially, you know, mentally, you know, hold on and, you know, not get so frustrated or so discouraged or, you know, want to give up. Because there's been a lot of times I just was like, I'm going to throw in the towel, but I just have to learn to, you know, trust God, believe in myself, and, you know, it'll work out in the end. It's not an easy process, and it is going to take a long time, you know, to get to where I really want to go. Yeah. But as long as I just keep going and don't focus on where I'm at, but what I'm trying to get to.
Plus, with our generation, I feel like it's a lot of, we get everything instantly, and that's a big thing for me. Like, I've always been one with a plan. Like, since kindergarten, like, I knew, okay, law school is going to be a route that you want to go in. But I've also liked baking and things like that. That's all stuff that I've always wanted to do. I think with 2020, that was, like, a big wake-up call for me, because from, like, birth to graduation from college, I've always had a plan of what I wanted to do and my next step. And when everything got shut down, it just kind of, like, basically what I wanted to do was, first, I was going to, like, plow straight through so I could be done, get my law degree, start businesses, because what I want to do is own my own firm. My parents raised all entrepreneurs. Like, we all have to, like, own our own thing. And when I would counsel with a few other lawyers, basically they advised me, like, you know, I was you, and what you want to do is you want to take a break. And that's kind of hard for me to wrap my mind around, because one thing I don't want to do is, like, be too relaxed. Yeah. Sit down, but you also want things to, like, come easily and, like, come on time when you want it to come. And I think that's a big thing of just learning, like, there's a time and place for everything, and it is okay to take time off for yourself, but I feel like you got to be able to hustle while you're still relaxed. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. So even when you're taking time for yourself and, like, to rejuvenate yourself, you do need to still hone your craft so that you don't fall behind. Because that's something that frustrates everyone. And you might look on, like, social media and feel like everyone's doing what you're doing, and it does get frustrating. It does get discouraging because it feels like, what makes you different? Exactly. That's where you need to go back and question with yourself, like, why did you start this? And you have to be able to know what you offer that's different than the next person. Yeah.
Look, I'm already feeling motivated already. Like, I can relate. I can relate to what you said about taking time to relax, but also staying on that grind and that hustle. Because there's so many times when I'm, like, in my room and I'll just be trying, like, you know what, let me just watch some Netflix real quick. Let me just wind down. And then I will grab my iPad and start sketching. And then before you know it, I'm paying more attention to what I'm creating than the original objective, which was to just relax and just chill. But that's everything you said was so true. So I know you guys kind of touched base with this, like, when we first started talking. But basically, my next question is, with all your businesses and everything that you have going on, I know, like, you already said it, but it's normal for you guys to work together. So how would you really, like, describe your guys' relationship between business and the grind and support?
As sisters?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's just, don't get me wrong, we get tired of each other. We really do. I was waiting for her to be like, I'm sorry. You get on my last nerve, and I just be having to separate myself, but it's hard because we spend every waking moment with each other. But, I mean, I think, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have it any other way, because that's just, you know, what we're used to. And I think we work better that way because we balance each other out. You know, our personalities are different, but we're similar still in a lot of ways. So it does work when we come together. We make, I think, the best ideas.
I think we were always raised to know who we are, and then to know the people who are around you as well. And, you know, my mom basically always raised us, like, we're in each other's lives for a reason. So, you know, once we know who we are and know the other person, you'll know your role. And within our family dynamic, we all have a role within our support system. So for me, I'm a very much, like, I'm a creative thinker, but I'm also, like, a take charge, like, When do you need it?
Yeah.
Get it done right then and right there. But it's weird because I can't always do that for myself. So, we basically are like each other's counselors and like motivators when we're feeling down and discouraged, but we also are each other's marketers. We promote each other's businesses like crazy. But all of us struggle to like promote ourselves. I mean, everyone in the family, I'm probably the most talkative. I think you know that already.
Yeah.
I'm the most talkative, and I'm really good with selling things. So even when it comes down to it in a new environment and networking, I'm good at selling myself there as well. But I think it's something about like, I don't know, you feel weird being like walking up to someone like, I make pies, buy my pie, you know? So you have someone else to come and like be like, oh yeah, I know someone who does that, or you know. So in the family, like my dad and I are the networkers, and Claire and my mom are like, they're the counselors. I'm a counselor too, you know. I motivate her. I push her. Whenever she was down, I was like, Claire, you know what you should do? Come up with a whole line of shampoos and conditioners designed to each of our hairstyles.
It was like right then and there, it's like, okay, first of all, there's the formulating process.
Because I came up with some bomb designs that I want now.
Aw, you guys are like, I cannot with you guys. It's just so crazy. It's like, I can relate to what you say because, of course, I live with all sisters anyways. And me and Esther are kind of like how you two are. But, like, the way your family just operates, like, that motivation, it's just crazy. You guys are really blessed, though, like, for real. For real. So, I know that we also kind of talked about this, but I'm going to go through it, like, once again. So, maybe we can go into a little bit more depth. So, for Tanisha, you said that you always wanted to be a lawyer. So, was it always your dream to have your own business and firm? Or was that something that you came up with longer down the road? And then the same with you, Quera?
So, for me, I don't know if I've ever thought to have it any other way. Because growing up, my mom would always just be like, girl, you got a smart mouth. You better be like a lawyer. And it just came naturally to me. Like, I love learning things. I love debates. I have to be right. So, like, and I love counter arguments, and I just love really, really, like, deep, intelligent conversations. Not too deep. Don't get too deep. But, like, if we can have, like, intelligent conversation or debate about anything, I love it, and I'm always finding a way to advocate for something. I think somewhere along the line, I probably saw, like, what was it, Jerry Maguire? When I was a little girl, and he like went off and I mean he was an agent, but still I was like, I could have my own firm, and I like to set my own times when I'm coming in, and like I don't really, I mean if I have to do well with answering to people, no I do, no hello wait a minute, hold up, I can do authority, okay? No, I was trying to say it right. I've worked under people, and I'm a great employee. I'm like always, I like to go in and be the best. I'm that girl. You watch Grey's Anatomy?
Like maybe a few episodes, but I'm not really like.
I just started watching. Do you know Christina? Christina Yang?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
I'm her. So that's me. I go in there. I have to be the best at everything, and I have to master it. And I'm really like, they would never know because they've never worked with me in like in that kind of environment. Yes, I have. No, that business is totally different because see what I did was I went in and I took over that. But actually working like when I worked at Riddle Village and Nursing Home and all that stuff, like I'm a totally different person. I think it's because of the environments that you know.
Yeah.
Like, I know my parents, and I know that my parents want us to have our own. So I know my dad will have no problem with making a department specifically designed for me, which is what he did. And so I got to look at rental agreements and contracts and negotiate deals and coordinate events that's going to be taking place at the gym. I got to develop a program for community service for the kids in the area and things like that. So he knows I like doing that type of stuff. I like networking. I like communicating with people and just doing things like that. So he allowed me to have my own department that's specifically for that, and I ran that. So I think that's the difference. But when someone is over me and I know that I have no problem climbing the what is that called? Not the social ladder, but like the I would say promotional ladder. I have no problem doing that and doing what it takes and being complicit with an authority figure and being obedient. I just know my type of personality and the way that I stand and, you know, our beliefs. Like, I have to own my own thing. I'm not trying to be out there. You know, one of the biggest things when I was younger, when people wanted to discourage me from being a lawyer, is that thing of, like, you have to lie. You don't have to lie to be a lawyer at all. I think the hardest thing for me is ruining someone's life. That's the thing. You don't know. Your client could be lying to you. You don't know that 100%. Or even if you do, let's say that they're innocent. You're going in there, you're fighting the hardest that you can, and they might still get convicted. So stuff like that, like, and choosing your own cases, I want to be able to do that. Choose how I represent the person. I know it takes a while in the business to get to that point. But I know who I am and, like, what I want to do. I would have to run my own business, especially because we have other, like, outlining restrictions with anything that we do. Yeah. So that's just me.
So can you repeat the question again?
She said that we always know we wanted to own our own stuff. That's her
way. Did you always know that you wanted to own your own business?
So no, like I said before, I thought I was going to be a doctor. I don't know why I thought that. I really thought I was going to college and I was going to be there. But once I got to college, and then once I started looking into, like, how long I would have had to stay in school, I was on my first flight out of there. I had to go. But I thought of a bunch of different ways. Like, after college, I thought I was going to be somewhere in beauty because I wanted to see if I could be an esthetician. But there was a lot of restrictions for that because I had to learn makeup and, you know, dyeing of the hair and stuff, and, you know, we're not supposed to be doing that. So I had to X that out. I had to keep going back to square one. I gave up for a while, and I just applied a regular 9-to-5 a couple times. But I learned that I don't do well under people either, because I feel like if I'm going to give my all to this job, like, I can be doing it myself because I'm getting paid minimum wage, and, you know, I can just be doing it on my own. And I know I can do it better. So, I was like, I always wanted to have my own hairline, my own clothing line, and, you know, I've always struggled with, you know, my face. I've had hyperpigmentation probably, like, my whole life for a very long time. So, I wanted to always create something to help people like me. So, I just started sitting down and researching and figuring out what I can do. And I've always made, like, little products here and there from, like, stuff sitting around the house. So I knew that it was my niche. I knew that I was good at it, but I wanted to do it the correct way with the correct ingredients, you know, that were sellable and, you know, that were still natural at the same time. So once I sat down and I looked through that, it was so funny. I don't think sellable is a word. Sellable is a word. I'll be typing it in.
She said I'll be typing it in.
Yeah, like sell it in.
I know what
Y'all crack me up.
Anyway, once I got through all of that and all my research, I was able to come up with just being, you know, I don't know, what do you call it?
What do you mean?
A cosmetic formulator. I think that's like the correct term for it. So I started off with my soaps and I tried them. The first attempt was horrible. I bombed it. I had to throw the whole thing away.
Wait, you know what though? I think we low key are making it sound like it's so easy. It's really not. I'm just saying it took a long time for you to figure out like that you even wanted to go into cosmetics.
It was years in between.
Yeah, and I think what it was is I feel like this is gonna be an interview on our parents. But for real, my mom was like, who are you? Like, she made us, like, all... So, before she even, like, went into, you know, beauty, we were just like, Claire, you're vain. Like, you like to look good. So, let's start there. And, like,
I thought for me, a YouTuber.
Yeah, she did. She thought she was going to start YouTube. YouTube is very hard. We all...
It is.
No, I'm telling you, like, my mom be like, did you see Naomi's video? You gotta keep going. Just like that. Like, just stuff like that. She always...
Yes, exactly what she said. Because YouTube is like, some people just have it. Some people just really have that thing about them that makes them get tons of subscribers and tons of views. And then there are people like me who are like, okay, well, I know I like a lot of things, but how do I focus all that into my channel? How do I get people to see? Because when I go to like the post office to ship off artwork, or whenever I'm doing stuff like that, people are always talking about how good my artwork is or how good that is, but it's hard to actually get to those people over YouTube. So what she said is totally true.
I didn't know you sold your art pieces. I didn't know.
I think it started in college. I'm so similar to Queer, it's crazy, okay? I went to college not knowing what I wanted to do, but I knew it was something in the art field. So I decided just to major in graphic design. And while I was there, let me tell you, my professor was looking over my shoulder trying to learn from me. Okay, I did not know I was that good. And I was like, you know what? Let me start making money off of this. So people started asking me for portraits and commissions for logos and all that other stuff. And that's how I made my side hustle in college. And that's how I kind of started my business off from there. So it's all about just taking time and just trust me. I know all about that. Who am I? What am I doing on this world type thing? Because it's a struggle. Like, it really is a struggle.
It is. In between trying to figure that out, like, it was horrible. Like, if I really could get into it, like, this interview would be really long. I had to, like, I had to really, like, talk to God. Like, I really had to be like, you know, I mean, you just got to slap me in the face with it. Because at this point, I'm lost. I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be no bum. I know that.
Right. Yeah.
Really, though.
I got to get it together. So once he was like, it was basically like I knew the whole time what it was, but I was trying to ignore it. You know, I was trying not to, you know, come to terms with it because I didn't think, you know, I had the gift like I had it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, once I just put my mind to it, I asked the Lord to anoint my hands, you know, things have been, you know, working.
That just happened to me, too. I mean, 2020 was a big wake-up call for me because, like I said, I always had school to fall back on. Like, I knew I was going to go to law school.
Mm-hmm.
I think now that everything is slowed down and it's not, like, a quick right-away thing, like, I always pray and, like, be like, okay, what are my talents? And then if I have any talents, help me to give it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good with languages. I'm really good at teaching people. My siblings, like, I teach them 3 languages. And
Really?
I do.
Which languages are those?
The Espanol,
Okay.
sign language. Like, but if you ask me, like, if you come up to me and start having a conversation with me, I freeze and I feel like I'm a fraud. Like, literally, the conversation in my head, girl, they know you deaf. Stop, put your hands down. I'm deaf. Or, like, girl, they know you're not from no Spanish-speaking country. And, like, I just freeze. And
That's so cool, though.
But, see, it's hard to, like, and then you know that when you're good at so many different things, it's like, okay, what do I stick to? And I don't know, you're creative in, like, so many different areas. It gets really hard, and I feel like, I don't know, because I thought, maybe you're supposed to be a teacher. Maybe law school is not it. And I tell you, like, I was crying. There's nothing wrong with being a teacher. Teachers are awesome. But I know me, like, after a while, I'd be like, little boy.
Yeah, I feel you. Because I work in a school, so yeah.
And, like, when I was working in, so I took a job for the school. And it was in, like, our hometown where we grew up. We grew up in Chester. And the school that I was at, it wasn't very great. And, just being in there with the students and me, like, I want to help everybody and I want to teach them. And when you look at, so my parents were they were blessed enough to move us out of that school district, so we had a better education. So I'm looking at these students that I'm helping teach, and then I come home to my siblings and they're, like, in the same grade as some of these kids, but the education is so different.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I was really coming home, like, crying to my dad, like, what do I do? How do I teach them? He's like, you can't. Like, I can teach them and I can help them, but at the end of the day, they go home and I'm only there, like, once or twice.
Yeah.
And so I would work with these kids, and sometimes they end up going backwards. And it's like, I don't know, it's a thing, like, because I thought at one point, maybe I would want to be a doctor. And then it's like, well, if someone dies on the table, like, I'm the type of person, I take that into, like, my conscience.
Yeah.
I'm like, what could I have done better? So I know for me, like, I can't go into those fields because I have to be able to, like, remove myself. So with law, what happened with us is our cousin got arrested and given a sentence sentence for a crime he did not commit. And, you know, I wanted to go into criminal law. And when I went through that whole experience with the United States justice system, I learned my lesson because he was black. And a lot of the times you feel like, that's cliche, that's not what really happened, it was presented this way. No. There were comments in the newspaper after he was arrested and given his sentence that more young black men should be thrown into prison and off the streets. So when you look at things like that and the fact that he had an all-white jury, in media, there are African Americans around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you get to the nitty-gritty of our justice system, it's crap. It's total trash. And for me, like, I'm a person who loves advocating for things like that. Yeah. But I know, like, over time, that would really wear down on me. So what did I do? I went back. I counseled with the Lord. I counseled with my father. We're a big sports family. My dad's business is in sports training. Our uncle was in the NBA, so I've always had that background. And what did I become really invested in? The NFL and how they treat their players. And I call the NFL as like a modern day slave trade with the plantation, because I feel like our players are, especially African American players, especially in the NFL, for everything that they go through, they're not paid enough. And I know that's very controversial because people feel like, why should they get paid any more money? But their bodies, like, they're really getting like worn down. Yeah. Like, there's so many arguments that go with that, but that's the type of person that I am, and I feel like once you figure that out, who you are, and it takes time. Yes, child. It takes a lot of time and a lot of counsel, and it's not going to come overnight, but once you figure out things like that, it's like, I don't know, you just kind of know, like, this is what I have to do. Yeah.
That was a bucket load. I just gotta let that simmer and marinate for a little bit. So, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, for Queera. So, your cosmetic line, or so how was the process of making your own products? I know you touched base about how the first time you did it didn't go as planned. So, what was the process like? How do you deal with the frustration and the trials and errors so many times?
Well, the process, what do you mean, like how do you go about making it?
Yeah, like, how did you, like, are you like Tanasia, where she said, like, she likes to plan ahead? So did you write down, like, okay, this is what I want to have in my products. Now I have to go find the products. Where do I want to get them from? Like, what was, because I know it's a lot.
Yeah, so I started off with the soap, because I really want to do hair, because that's my thing. I love hair. But, you know, tackling that in itself, especially the formulation of the process, you have to get, like, chemists to look at it to make sure, like, you're giving out the right stuff. Yeah. So I had to, you know, put a pause on that one. So I went with the soap. So for that, I thought I could, you know, mix and match. And there's a lot of different ingredients that you can put in soap. But it depends on the process that you use. So the process that I knew about for a long time was cold process, which is how a lot of brands make their soap. But I'm very impatient, and that process takes up to 4 to 6 weeks before you can use the soap. Yeah. But, you know, that's how you get the pretty colors in it, and that's what I wanted. So I was trying to attempt that, but I talked to, I kind of call her, she's one of my mentors that once I started it, she introduced me to hot process soap, which is a very quicker way. She's someone from our father's gym. Yeah, she owns her own soap and oil line. Oh. So she was telling me about hot process, which is a quicker process, but the only thing is I don't get the colors that I want. And I tried so many times to achieve a specific color, because I love the color pink. It's one of my favorite colors, so I wanted one of my...
You've had pretty soaps, like different colors.
They didn't come out pink, though.
They didn't come out pink, though.
No, and I was trying so hard to get it to come out a certain color, so that was my first frustration when I first started the soap. It's really an easy process. Soap is really just oil, and then it's a certain chemical. I believe it's sodium hydroxide. I could be wrong. But I think that's the chemical. It's also called lye. So it's just a mixture of oils, whatever oils you would like to use, and then a lye, and then you have a basic soap. So then that's when you add, you know, your essential oils or your fragrance oils to, you know, have the smell, and basically it's done. So My second time making the soap, I actually did a pretty good job. I thought it was going to take me a couple of tries, but after the second time, I was just whipping them up. It was just trying to achieve the color that I wanted to with the frustrating part. But then my mom was saying, maybe that can be the way that I stand out. You know, so everyone who does soap does cold process, and they have different colors in it. But mine, she was like, I'm targeting a specific type of people, which my soap is specifically to help, you know, the skin, because it's natural, you know, just to help it in any other kind of way, like with hyperpigmentation or whatever kind of skin you have, sensitive skin, eczema, that's what my soap is geared towards. So it's not really so much about the color, it's really about what it can do for you. So I had to learn that, which this was in a span of months, actually. Me, you know, getting used to making a product, and then me, I am not a marketing person at all. As you can see, I don't like to talk. I don't really like interaction with people. So selling it was not an easy process. My mom and my sister actually sell it more than I do. Me, I feel like I'm going to put a picture out there, or I'm going to be like, yeah, I sell soap, and then I'm just going to leave it at that. I feel like I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to explain it. I'm really not that kind of person. So I'm still in my way with that. I'm trying to get out of that, or at least try to, you know, talk and promote myself more. But I haven't got there yet. So one day maybe we'll reach that. But as far as the soap, I don't think making it is frustrating. The only thing is promoting myself and, you know, believing that one day, you know, everyone would know Beauty products. That's it.
I think another thing that gets really frustrating when you're starting off with your own business is finances, the funds.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be really discouraging. So I think right now we're both learning to work with what we have.
Yeah.
And, like, that comes from our dad. Like, as kids, like, we never knew a struggle. Like our fridge was always like full. Even when we lived in Chester and didn't have a lot of money, like, nobody ever could tell. Like, we didn't even know. So when you get older and now all of a sudden I'm like, Dad, you got your own place. You got 2 courts. It's a nice facility. You getting people booked. Like, you know people. You work out professionals. So he always has to remind us, like, I did not start there. And our mom, she's good at so many different things. She has so many different careers in her life. So we got to see her start from scratch too. But like I said, I feel like nobody cooking ever amounts to their mamas. So like, her stuff it's just so good. And like, we'll go to make it, and it's crazy because all of our personalities come out in it. But I think like whenever it's just stuff like that. Just remembering, like, work with what you have. Yeah. It's so hard.
Yeah. The financial part is
work with what you have.
Because although it's not a lot that goes into soap, the ingredients are expensive, especially if they're natural.
Yeah.
Packaging is a whole thing in itself. I think when I first started, I probably had to spend about maybe $500 on everything altogether, and that's not even continually putting out. That was just like a basic count of certain things. So when I totaled it up, I was like, wow, like it's not easy starting, but I just started with what I had, and I just went with it, because when I kept looking at, I don't have enough money, or this product costs too much, I don't want to spend that much money, I never started. So once I just was like, I'm just going to go, you know, the Lord will supply it. If I'm supposed to have it, I just have to keep going.
Yeah.
And He will set you up. When I first started, I was like, I ain't got no money to be making no pies. Like, I don't got money to be putting all this. Every time I would say that, right? Like, if not that same week, the next day, whatever, like, money in my account from something, from somewhere. It would just be money there. I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to stop saying I'm broke. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to go. And another thing that's really discouraging is seeing people do what you do. Yeah. So
I can relate to that. Like,
very successful
Lord.
at it. And you feel like, I can be there, you know, I can do that. Why isn't it happening for me? But I also look at, you know, our pastor, when I think of that, my mom always reminds me how he said he started off with
one person
in a certain location, and he just kept going. And then now he has
Yeah.
And then all these orders on my phone, but patience. That's what I'm trying to address.
When people doing what you do, that can be really discouraging. So we have we have a friend. She owns Love and Butter Co. So everybody go check her out. Her food, her stuff is really good and it looks really nice. Yes. And when we first started, I have always liked to do cakes. I always watch the shows. And cupcakes? My designs, when it comes out, it'll look nice at first, but I always do something extra. I don't know why. I always go back and I mess it up, and it just looks like slop. You don't know what it was. So I look at her stuff, and it's so pretty, and I'm like, well, now why did my cupcakes come out like that? And it's just and it tastes great. It does.
It does.
Yeah, hers tastes great, but my stuff, it would taste really good, but the design just wasn't there. My design would either be too mediocre or way over the top, where it's like, what the heck is this? So I was I took a step back, and I counseled again with the Lord, with myself, is this something I really want to do? Should I just focus on law school? And then the pies came out, and you would think pies are simple, they're no big deal, and that's how I took it. This is so basic. I'm just gonna find whatever decorative tools I have. And now I have pretty pies that looks like leaves is on it. Everybody wanted that specific pie dish. And then I did the lattice method, and I thought this is no big deal. And they're like, this is so pretty. I'm like, oh really? Oh thanks. Okay, I didn't know it was all like that. And now it's just sticking to something that is your thing. So now I'm going into mini bundt cakes, because I said, I gave up on the cakes and all of that stuff. I'm like, okay, now you just do too much. But now I'm going back to it, and the mini bundt cakes, and that works for me because I can design the cake to be something, whereas the decorative part can be the cake, and it doesn't have to be all over the place with the icing and things like that. So I think, like we just said before, it's so discouraging when everyone does what you do, but you do have to figure out what makes you you.
I think that is so true, and I think, I'm thankful that you guys actually brought it up, because I was actually going to forget to talk about it, but I can definitely relate to what you guys said about being discouraged when there are people who do the same thing as you, because there are so many times, how there are some of us who, there are some people who will talk about all the things that they want to do, all the dreams that they have. And then there are some of us, like me, who I want to move in silence. I want to surprise people with what I'm doing. And then I'll be on social media. I'll be on Instagram and Facebook, and I see a person oh, guys, look what I'm doing. And I'm just I really wanted to... and it's so crazy how Clara said she's always wanted to have a clothing line and a hair care business, because I'm literally, Esther can attest to what I'm about to say. I have literally been the same way. But when you said that, I didn't feel discouragement. I felt more encouragement than anything, because I know that we can relate to all this stuff that we're doing and we're trying to, achieve. But when it comes to, art and the clothing stuff, for example, and how it looks like it's so easy for people to do that, but nobody really sees what everyone is going through behind closed doors. So it's so interesting to for what you guys have, because I know I have still yet to try Clara's products and your products, but from what Esther has bought, I will come, trust me, I'm on my way. But Esther has bought both of your guys' stuff, and I can tell. I smell myself one time. Whenever I hug Queer alone, I'm like, girl, you smell good. What is that? But I love how you guys are on the grind, and you guys really do complement each other well, because you guys are night and day. Me and Esther are literally the same way. So a lot of things that you guys just said, I can really relate to.
Our family's a great support system, but to be honest, going around you guys, because our parents are great, but they're older than us. So it's y'all had years of whatever, but y'all are our peers. So being around you guys is awesome, and I think what I love most is that it's like-minded people who aspire to do their own thing, and even if your aspiration is working under someone else, you still want to be the best in what you do. So I feel we're surrounded right now by people like that, and not just like-minded business-wise, but none of us have an issue seeing the other come up. And
exactly.
The owner of, I'm just gonna keep saying her business because it's great, what I wanted to do, I was texting her about whether I should go to school or, you know, really take off with Pekuliar Eatz.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know, she's a psychiatrist, and she also has her business with Love and Butter Co. And she was encouraging for me to do both. It's not like anything came into her mind to be catty, like we're both into baking and doing. No, it was nothing like that. It was very encouraging.
Yeah.
Very motivated. And our other friend who owns Mod Curls now, her products are great. We just ordered some of her things, so we're gonna like post something about it when we get that. But she, you know, when we hung out with her, she was talking to us about her story. I feel like all of us have similar stories.
Yeah.
We talk to each other and be encouraged by each other. You don't find that very much.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people who feel like, oh, you can't be doing what I'm doing. I'm not gonna help you get up. But we don't have to.
Exactly. There are so many people who have a problem with like sharing how they got up. And I just really hate that. You know, there are so many people who will text me like, Nay, I just got a guitar, like, what do I do? Or you have some tips? Or like, Nay, what apps do you use? Or what should I get? Because I want to be an artist, and I've been seeing you, and you've encouraged me and inspired me, and I'm just like, I'm one of those people, like, when people come to me, I'm more flattered, and like, I'm so ready to just give out information. I don't understand people on the opposite spectrum where it's just like, figure it out yourself or struggle, because you guys, especially for Black people in itself, you can't complain that nobody is helping you when you can't even help your own brothers and sisters come up. You're staying silent. You're not helping anyone. And that is something that it's just, I talk about a lot. I really do, because that's just one thing that I don't like. It's just not feeling.
And I think it's a huge stigma too with women helping each other, and like I've experienced that, who feel like, especially because I'm a very authoritative person, and like I have no problem like owning my space. So when people see that, some people feel intimidated by it, so they try to like hinder me or things like that. That's why I was very shocked once we met all of you guys, because from my experience, majority of who we've met right now are not like that. And we all can come together and we all can counsel with each other.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm doing right now, or like, have you tried this? And I really love that. I think that's a big thing, because yes, your parents are great. Another person who's been really big for us, especially I think to you too though, is the owner of Perfect Blend.
I knew you were gonna say it. I was like,
awesome, all across the board, like all across the board.
Anytime I'm feeling discouraged, I go to her and she's like, "Where? You can't do that. You gotta be like this. You gotta do this. You gotta do this." She helps
Claire's business, but hers is with foods. Yeah, like ours, and she for like everything all across the board. She's someone who will definitely help you launch your business off the ground, and like generally. And the one that was like, she's great. Just launch it. Just do it.
Yes. Sister Tamara is literally like my second mom. All right. I mean, not only am I like sisters and best friends with her kids, but like literally she is like my second mom, because there have been times when I'm over at her house trying to have like a chill girls weekend, and then we always end up at the kitchen table and we're all talking about like, so we have a business, or I want to do this. And she told me there was this one time we were over and she was like, for the longest time, you've been doing your art and this and third. And she's like, you should have already started. She's like, you should have already launched your business and your website. And having her tell me that, especially from her, it's like, okay, like she knows business. She knows. Yeah. And I was like, if she knows that I'm ready, why can't I know that for myself? And it's just like, sometimes it's the doubt or the discouragement in yourself that prevents you from doing it. But when you have people behind you who are like, just go for it, just do it. It makes a whole lot. It makes a difference. So, like, that being said, my next question for you guys is, do you think your progress, whether it's in life or business or all the things that you guys have going on, do you think that if you didn't have the support system that you have, do you think things would have been a lot different?
Yeah, of course. Definitely. Oh, yeah.
I probably would have still been suffering in school.
Both of our business, all of the family businesses launched from my father's business. So if stuff wasn't there, probably would have had nothing. Like Pekuliar Eatz, so my dad's business is named Fidonce. It's a play on the word confidence. And I always used to think, if I ever spell that word backwards, it would spell confidence. It does not spell confidence backwards, but that's his own.
Yeah.
So when my mom was coming down with her business name, she wanted something she was.
Yeah.
And so her big motivation was my dad. And she came up with Pekuliar Eatz. Although I think I came up with it. We argue about this all the time. I think I did. And I had a notebook. I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure I did it. Whatever. She's like, because we're a Pekuliar people, so that factored into why she chose it. And then as we're talking about it, it's like, well, Mom, we also make stuff different. Like, when we cook, we go off of flavor. And it might be the most random thing you might not think about putting into your dish. I'll taste it and be like, Mom, put that in there. And be like, okay. Or she'll be like, Nay, put this in there. Even with baking, like, there's different ingredients. And, like, I like the term, like, regular food, everyday food. Let's just say, for example, squash. You probably don't think squash would go in, like, a cupcake or something, but I would make a cake out of the squash. So it's stuff like that. And that's why we call ourselves, like, Pekuliar. And we put the K in there because her name is Keisha. And, it's just, I don't know, it's stuff like that. Having people around. Like, even if we're not always talking to each other about what we're doing, they're an example. That's right there. What made you come up with the podcast idea?
Oh, well, I started my first podcast when I was still in college. But I didn't really have a set plan. There's just like one day I was like, you know what? I want to do a podcast because I was so into podcasts back then. So I was like, you know what? I want to be inspirational. I already have my YouTube channel, so I might as well just add a podcast with it. And I did a few podcasts on Anchor, and my podcasts were on like Spotify and a few other platforms. And then I kind of just stopped because I had passions, but I didn't really have a straightforward passion like how I have now. I feel like it just takes time to develop something if you really want it. So, I mean, technically, I always had a podcast for a couple years, but I kind of just relaunched and kind of just rethought out my plans and organized and stuff like that.
That's great. I was going to say, because a lot of people have them right now, so I know you're definitely with that, like, if everyone else has it, what makes mine special? So
yeah.
I think it's great that you did it anyway.
Yep. Yeah. Let me tell you, because going from, like, whether it's my art or this, for example, there's so many people in the church who sew. So it's like, what do I create that is different? But I already know what it is. Like, I love the 90s. I love color block. I love dope style.
We love your style. Like, I'm not even kidding. We love it.
And eventually, I really do want to have, like, eventually, hopefully, it's in God's plan to let me have it. But, like, I really want my own big store. I want to build a fashion empire, and I want to, like, really recreate modest fashion, because back in the day, modest fashion was not it. Everybody thought that modest fashion is, like, wearing long skirts, looking like a granny. That's not what it is. This is 2021. Yeah. There's so many different ways to go about it, so I kind of just have to self-motivate myself. Like, Naomi, let them do, they got what they got, you got what you got. And it's just, I constantly pray to God. I'm like, all the talents and gifts you give me, do not let me use it in vain, and do not let me let it go to waste.
Yeah, so many times. I was just saying that again upstairs today, because I'm like, oh, you have so many things to do. How do you know what's supposed to be, like, the core, and you, like, focus on that, and the other ones that are, like, I mean, they're all great.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, which ones do you know that you're supposed
exactly.
to?
Because I really want to get into fashion. Like, I love styling clothes. Like, I'm not an artist, so I don't really do, like, the designing part, but I love, like, picking them out, styling them together, and I love hijabs.
Yeah.
So I want to have my own hijab line. It's just, I don't know, like, where to start. Like, I don't know if I want to do it myself, or if I want to get it from a certain company, or if I want to have someone else design it for me. Like, I don't know where to start with that, but it's something that I really, 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 really want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be patient and, kick off my cosmetic part first, and then start focusing on, clothing.
Yeah, that's what I have to keep telling myself, because there's so many times I was like, Naomi, you want to do this and you want to do that, but it's like, calm down. Focus on, because that's my problem. It's like, I get so motivated and so inspired to do so many things all at once, but whenever I've done in the past, it's never worked out because you feel like so stressed out. You're like, just with one business, you already know it's already stressful as it is. So you trying to do everything else, you just gotta let it. Take your time. I wrote, like, for example, I want to keep on writing books. I published my first book when I was in high school, actually. And it's just, yeah, I published my... Yeah, I published my first novel when I was in high school. I didn't really think nothing of it at the time. But when I found out that I actually won a contest, I've won poetry contests before and writing contests. And just, like, being inspired to keep writing, I do get discouraged a lot. But eventually I'm praying to God that I just find the right words to write in my novels, and hopefully I'll be successful with that as well, but it just takes time, because it's just, writing is a struggle.
I think another thing is having people read it. I've written so many. I'm still working on one right now, but having people read it, most likely not. If I did, like, I've posted a few on things like Wattpad under, like, a very ridiculous username, so no one will ever find me. But, like, it's always, I don't know. I've always had compliments on my writing. I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing of people reading it. And then, like what you said with fashion, it took me a long time to get in fashion. I used to dress like a homeless person. I'm not gonna lie. I really did. My parents would not let me go out with them.
Oh, no.
I think somewhere like sophomore year in high school, it just clicked. And, like, I have my own style, and I cannot wait to get into, like, a courtroom. Like, I know in my head how I want, like, my outfits and, like, power suits to be, especially since we wear skirts and things like that. I tried to sketch them, but you can't tell what it is.
Girl, if you ever need help, like, let me know, and I will help you sketch it out, do whatever you gotta do.
Like, suits and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's so interesting. So interesting. I love y'all. I really do. I'm sorry. I just like to let it marinate for a second. I already knew, like, in my head, I already knew that this podcast was going to be a really good one. Because,
thank you.
Yeah. Like, are y'all still nervous? Like, no.
I'm more comfortable. I feel like, man, I'm talking so much. I always talk and I ramble until I get back to my point. So a few times on here, people are probably like, what is she talking about?
No, everything that you guys said was good. Oh, also.
You would be like, this the yes, so. Just wait for the next
So, I know that, Tanisha, you were kind of listing the name for your dad's business, the gym, and your mom's. Queera, I want to know the meaning behind Vain Beauty.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Vain Beauty means, to me, it means beauty from within. So, you know, like I said, I've always been the cute one. Like, that's how people would address me, like my family, like, oh, she's just a pretty one.
Yeah.
For a long time, I used to hear my clothes. It was like, first of all, I'm smart. Like, what you talking about? But I had to, you know, that's what I gave. Like, I gave that I was really into my appearance, and I like to look up the par. Like, I dress over the top just to go around the corner to the store.
It's not over the top. It's just, she's extra. She's saying extra. Her dressing is not over the top. But she just can't she can't put on like a hoodie and go to the store. She has to have like this coat.
I gotta look good, you know, so that's
So go to Walmart, girl. Walmart.
That sounds like Esther. I will walk into her room, like, you ready to go? And she's just there, like, getting all... I was like, we're going to Walmart. You got a date or something? Like...
2 hours. That's what I'm like, no. You are vain. 2 hours to get dressed just to come downstairs and cook breakfast in the morning.
But
I'm not even cute. The babies be hungry.
It's just the outer, though. It's like, I'm beautiful on the inside as well. So beauty runs, you know, in my veins. That's why it's called vein.
That's why it's spelled the way it is.
Yeah, it's spelled like...
It's a play on words.
Yeah. But I'm not vain. I just like to look good. That's it.
Mine is just picky pastries because it was alliteration. I wanted it to be something Hispanic, like picky pastelitos, but my mom was like, I can't even say pasta and lala, so she's like, girl, it has to be something. And I was like, what? And my dad was like, how about pastries? So I was like, all right.
Yeah, picking my name it was like probably a year.
Yeah.
I would help her. I would be like, Cora, it should be called this. It should be this. And Mom's like, no, Tanita,
but even the names that y'all picked, like, I wasn't really sold on them. And at first I was going to name it after me because my name is so unique.
Yeah.
No one else has my name. But my mom was like, you can't do that. That's really, how are people going to...
Yeah.
But in the process, because my name is so unique, my dad and his brother sat in the table and just put random letters together and was like, that's her name. So I had to even go and research what my own name means. So I had to break it down. So queer, which is it's a Latin root. It means to see. Girl. And Ja means I believe it's Hebrew. It means God. So my name to me means to see God. So that was a part of finding my name to my business, finding myself.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, God is my whole foundation. So I was just glad, to take that process. But it was a long time coming. My dad, I was like, Dad, okay, I really need help because I'm not like a creative person with words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm ghetto. So I talk ghetto. I am ghetto. That's just
sellable. I'm still not your man. Put in the comments if that's a word.
That's what it is. So one day we all sat down. My dad was like, vain. You like to look good and it's about cosmetics. So, vain, but not vain. The veins. So I was like, okay, yeah, I like that. And it stuck. And, I found the meaning to it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
And, with Pekuliar Eatz, it was hard at first because we wanted it to symbolize who we are as a people. And for us, we strive to put God first in everything that we do. So that's why Pekuliar people, it came from the scriptures. But also our logo. See, a lot of people were like, how's anyone going to know this is food? Your logo shouldn't be what it is. And what it is a woman with her head wrapped like this in it. And we have purple and gold. And I think purple was Tanaj's idea because it's royalty. And it's a black silhouette. Our family's color is black. All our cars got to be black. Everything black. But, we came up with this wrap because we didn't want it to be like a hijab look. Because we're not Muslim. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But we wanted something specifically unique to who we are and what we believe.
Yeah.
So all of that always plays a key into what we build up as our family business. Yeah.
I love how you guys keep tying in family. You guys are blessed. That's all I gotta say. So, of course, in reference to Black History Month, I kind of have to ask, who is one of your biggest inspirations, female lady bosses? Who is your biggest inspiration and why?
In Black history or just in general?
Well, I guess you could do in general. Any kind of Black figure that's inspired you or motivated you.
As a Black woman?
Well,
go ahead. No, I want to hear you first.
Okay, well, of course, my mom.
I was going to say
my mom is definitely number one. She's definitely a huge motivator. Just, when her life, and where she came from and where she's at now. Especially since me and my mom are so much alike, I always look to her for, my next step or, how to, for her to guide me through.
Yeah.
Go through a lot of similar things. I always say I'm her reincarnated.
She is.
But
I'm my aunt.
She's definitely number one. But ever since I was a little girl, I had two women from Black History Month that I used to research all the time. Marian Anderson. She was a singer. She was the first Black opera singer.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. And Wilma Rudolph. Because
I knew you were going to say Wilma Rudolph.
I used to run track. And I think she was the fastest woman at the time. She had polio. Yes, but I just love their stories and how they overcame.
Yeah.
And let the world get to them, even through the diseases and everything that happened to them.
Yeah.
They kept going. They kept pushing, and they believed. And they're one of a monumental women in Black history. So definitely those two.
For me, it's my mom all the way. A lot of who we are, we wouldn't be this way without our mother instilled all of this in us, to be honest, from a young age. With have to make something of ourselves. And she always told us that she wanted us to be better than she was.
Mm-hmm.
And better than she is. So every day it's like a reminder. And like our parents, they lived so that we wouldn't have to struggle the same way they did. So everything is always like, our parents are huge inspirations to us, especially like my mom. Like I said, like the reason why I am the way I am, education, all of that, real big to her, always. So my outside of my mother, it's Henrietta Lacks, and I say that because a lot of people don't know who she is. She is an African American woman. Her body was used in I think it was the 1900s for cancer. So her body was used as one of the first like researchers for studying the cells and cancer and things like that. And she was never accredited for it. They buried her body, but like you wouldn't be able to find it. Like her family, it took a minute for like her family to go and find her. And it wasn't until recently that she was actually given credit for her part in science. In I forgot which type of cancer. I feel like it's ovarian cancer, but I'm really not sure. But like I said, not many people have heard of her. Or
I haven't. I'm just now hearing about this.
She's not studied, and I love people who are like that. So yeah, she's the one.
Awesome. Okay, so as far as your businesses go and so on, where do you see yourselves 5-10 years from now? I hate to be that typical college questionnaire, but like as girl bosses, and I already know you guys already have visions. You guys want to be bigger than what you are now. So what does it look like for you guys?
So 5 years from now, I really, really want to be working on my fashion. I don't want to map it out to 5 years, but I really, really want to have my own online clothing store. With, hijabs and maxi dresses and skirts, and I even want to do shoes, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But I really, really want my clothing to be up, and of course I want my soaps and my cosmetic business to be doing numbers, have a lot of followers, just getting business done. I want to be stable in my business.
Yeah.
And I had another thing, but I forgot. Come back to me, I forgot it.
Okay. For me, in 5 years, I will either still be in law school or will have graduated from law school and probably working at some firm. At Law Journey, I honestly want Picky Pastries, if not all of Pekuliar Eatz, but Picky Pastries to be big in the catering circuit. That's what I want. I really want to focus on catering. My mother isn't too big on catering. It took me years to convince her. But I finally got her there. But, that's something that I want to do because we don't want shops to sell our food out of. She does want to get food truck. That's what we're working on right now, getting a food truck. We're just getting into the catering circuit, but we are a drop-off catering company. She's going to have her food truck as well because that's something she really wants to do. We'll still be set up at Fidonce because our new building will have a kitchen set up in there for her. For both of our businesses as well. But I want to be able to drop off, cater my desserts to different events.
Yeah.
And, just do things like that. I'm still going to work on certain products that, like I said, were unsuccessful in the beginning. But I'm still going to work on certain things because I do like I said, cakes and, the decorative parts of that with, like, fondant and things, different things like that. So that's where I'm hoping to be in, like, the next 5 years.
Claire, did you ever remember what you had to say?
Yes. I want to be working on, like I said, my hair care line. At least formulating by then. And I've always wanted to, I'm not sure what it's called, but I've always wanted to go to like not a boys and girls club, but I've always wanted to mentor younger girls. So that is one of my goals once I get older. Down the line,
really,
find a club or like a center mentor them. I've always wanted to do that, go and talk to them about different things in life, you know, mental stability, you know, business-wise, you know, young Black girls. I've always wanted to reach out and, you know.
Thank you. Somebody with I tell you, I didn't know we were so alike. Like, I really did not know.
That's great. No, she doesn't.
You didn't know that? She didn't even tell you?
Queer don't be dealing with children. I'm the baby whisperer. That's what I'm like.
It's not that I don't do children. I'm sort of
other people's children.
I'm sort of an awkward person, so just going up to being like, you know, get you to somebody else's kid, I think that's weird for me.
Yeah.
But like with my own kids, you know, baby talk. But with my own kids, you know, I do love them, but I'm not talking about like young kids, not
but
like
in
children,
the
but like preteen,
yeah,
or, you know, young adults.
No, I'm just saying you don't be having to pay, like, that's great though.
Yeah.
You really see it.
Other girls that
you don't. I usually but you don't. But I'm good. That's great.
I can totally relate to what you're saying though, because that's one of the things that constantly keeps pushing me, like with everything for my business. Like when I'm posting body positive, I can't speak. When I'm posting body positivity art, when I'm doing my YouTube videos, the clothes that I design, everything like that ties into what would I do and give to the younger me, because I didn't have that when I was younger. I didn't have that at all, okay? I was so ashamed and I hated my big nose and I hated my big lips. But now you see that like in all my art, because I like to embrace that. I like to embrace Black girl features, and I like to, you know, do all that stuff, like show and really just emphasize on self-care and self-love, because I didn't have that back then. I had to really teach myself.
I did have that.
I did not have that. I was so insecure as a child.
Exactly, yeah.
What? From mommy. What are you talking about?
Embracing it?
Yeah.
I know, but
I'm saying you had no choice.
No, but as a child, girl, I was still insecure.
No, of course you still have insecurities, but I'm saying that person to like, okay, I'll speak for myself then. I had that. I had a person there who was like, you know, love this about yourself. And I mean, as a kid, you don't always feel like, you don't always believe what they're saying. Like, well, you don't believe that at all.
Sometimes you think, you know, they're your parents, so they just gotta say, you know, they don't have a choice. But I did have a lot of insecurities as a kid, and you know, people don't believe that because they feel like, you know, well, you know, I was the pretty one. But I just feel like if you don't believe in yourself, then you know you're not gonna feel it, no matter how many times people tell you.
Yeah.
I was, you know, I struggled with depression and so many other aspects. But once I got older, and I don't know, things just happened, and I just gained confidence, and I just was like, you know what, I don't care what people think about me. I'm a rock and roll.
I was the opposite.
Yeah,
I had bomb confidence from a child on up, and I didn't care what I was wearing. My clothes, like I said, I dressed like a hobo. I didn't care. You couldn't tell me I wasn't cute. I was a cute hobo. And bomb all the time. And it wasn't until after I graduated high school, somewhere along the lines, that confidence just kind of flipped. I don't know what happened. Okay, I kind of do know what happened. Confidence flipped a little bit, and I think I had to take the time to relearn me and who I am. And you know what I think about is we're always taught like a person can't love themselves until they love God and they know who He is. And I think as a kid, I just felt like I already knew. I felt like I had my own relationship with Him. But I really didn't until I got older. I mean, I understood the things we were being taught. I believed it. But it's totally different when you go through something and no one can help you but God. It's totally different. And you know what? I think that's what it was where, I mean, before I had confidence. But it was confidence, I'll say it wasn't deeply rooted.
Right.
Once I had that whole experience with the Lord, there's like a confidence and a self-love that no matter how hard other people, or like the devil may try, it really can't be taken. Like, I mean, I hope I'm right saying that, but like, even if like I have a rough day, and you know, you always hear that, like, girl, somebody better than you, or that stuff don't last because it's always something else that come right behind it. That's like, now, like, you are Tanasia, you got what's for Tanasia, and you know you keep moving. So I think that's what it was for me.
For me, and I just had to pray, and you know, because I knew that it was somewhere deep down in there. I'm like, I get so many compliments, but I think it was because I didn't feel it on the inside that for me it wasn't apparent on the outside. So I just, you know, pray and I just asked God to make me what He sees. You know, if He sees strength in me, give me that strength.
Yeah.
Allow me to, you know, accept that strength. If you know I'm made from Him, so of course I'm a beautiful person inside and out. So allow me to see that. So once I just let go and just let God do what He do, that's when everything became so much easier, became so much better. And even if I have the worst day ever, I know that the Lord does not give me more than I can bear. And, you know, He's always right there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it makes the day so much better. And I know that tomorrow, it depends on me if I'm going to make it a better day than the last
Yep.
one.
I think that's the difference with our experience. So I was always like that person that people would go to and have conversations with. Like, I was always the motivator for other people and an encourager for other people. And it was great. You know, I like that they found motivation and encouragement from me, but I couldn't always give that back to myself. So once I started building, like, that relationship with the Lord, and a lot of it was spiritual because that's our background, that's where we come from. And I think some people don't understand that, so I will never, like, force it on them in a conversation, but I will always say, like, my experience is going to be different from yours because I have something different with me, and I'm taught something different. And I think that's hard for some people to grasp, and it's like, it's not intentional, but it's just, I don't know, it's not, as you get older, you just kind of realize, like, you're really not going to make it without the Lord.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen.
There's no other way I can help you because everything I say is going to have something to do with God. So
it's always going to go, and I don't make any apologies for it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to hear that, then you can't come to me because that's all I got for you.
Exactly.
And yeah, like, it's never forced. I will talk to you on, like, a natural back and forth, and it's always unexpected. Like, my friends will come to me and talk to me about personal stuff that they're going on. I would give them my experience, but it's always that spirituality in there because, like, that's my experience.
Yeah.
I have no other way of talking.
That's my story. I always, like, God really will come in, He'll humble you, He'll let you.
Yes, He will. Yes, He will.
Today just sounds like she can testify to that.
It definitely told me, and it definitely told me that, you know, I'm nothing without God.
Yep.
You know that post you put the other day on your story, and I, like, DM'd you and was like, girl.
The 2021.
Yeah, and, like, how you, but, you know, people be testing you.
Yeah.
Because they was, like, test me, I'd be like, am I a punk, man? I'm just so nice to everybody. I'm really not this nice. People must think I'm so nice. So I would be like, Lord, why am I so nice? Like, I want some of that old creature. You know, just a little bit. And I tell you, He gave it to me. I made a straight fool out of myself. I was like, you're right. You good. Humble.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of trouble with just trying to stay focused and stay stable-minded. It's always, like, I feel like my struggle more, a lot of us have different struggles. Some people might struggle, I don't know, with smoking or drinking or cursing or whatever. I feel like my biggest struggle was always mentally. It was always, you know, being encouraged in, like... You okay?
Let's see what's going on over there. Oh, wow, man. You got to turn that on time.
See, I knew this podcast was gonna be a funny one. Like, I already knew. Okay, so this podcast sadly is coming close to an end, but I do have one last question, and basically this is for anyone, whether they want to be an entrepreneur or, like, they have certain goals and dreams. What would your advice be to them if they did not have a good support system? What would you advise them to do?
I feel like support system or not, you have be willing to learn and accept who you are, no matter what it is, the good, the bad, pretty, and ugly. You have to accept who you are, because believe it or not, a person's personality is reflected in almost everything that they do. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whatever you decide to do, who you are is going to come out in it. So you're not going to be able to get that one foot up off the ground if you have no idea who you are, because you're not going to know where to start.
And I also say accept each failure as it comes.
Yes.
Because you are going to fail, and that's coming from me. I'm a perfectionist. I hate failing. I hate feeling like I did not do something right.
Yep.
You are going to fail no matter what you think. You're going to fail.
That's a tough.
You might fail once, you might fail 30,000 times, but you're going to fail. But take each failure as a lesson, apply it, and use it as an experience for the next time you go through it.
Another thing is, no one, absolutely no one, can hinder or stop you from what is for you, except for you. If you turn away from that, you have no one to blame
but yourself. Yep.
So it's up to you whether you're going to keep pushing or not. Support system or no support system.
Believe in yourself and keep going. That's all I can say.
Because while we had great support systems, my dad, he's an example of someone who did not. And he made it happen for himself with a lot of people doubting him.
Still to this day.
And trying to get in his way. Still to this day. So listen, if you want it, you got to get it.
I love how you guys finish each other's sentences. Or not so much. You guys end the sentence in unison. I love that. Well, sadly, that was my last question. But I really enjoyed this podcast with you guys. Like, the minute we started the podcast, and I asked you that one question just about that clarity real quick about your guys' cooking business, I already knew. I was like, in my house, like, see, I knew this was gonna be a good podcast. Like, I already knew it off the bat. But I really, I do plan on having you guys on again. Hopefully we'll have like a group. I really want to have a group discussion, so this might actually possibly be in person, maybe at church, when I have a couple other of our young entrepreneur, people, so we can just all talk and discuss and all that good stuff. But
a lot of us.
I really appreciate you guys coming on, because I know, I had you guys standing in front of your phone or whatever talking to me for an hour, but I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to edit this and post it hopefully this week.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Nervous for what?
I don't know, like, I'm just nervous, like, with my hair sticking up.
No, you both looked fine. You guys had a lot of good and motivating things to say. I already know, like, if I was sitting here having a conversation with you guys and I was already becoming, like, inspired and motivated, I already know it's going to be the same for everybody else. And if it's not, then I don't know what they're listening to, because... But, yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time out to let me interview you, because I really appreciate it.
Thanks for asking. I'm excited. We don't get asked to do stuff like this.
And that just about sips it up on this Tea Time with Nay podcast, episode 2, Sister Sister. If you would like to get in touch with my girls, Tanasia and Jaquira, check the description box for their info. All of their information for their social media accounts are noted in the description box below, including a link directly to their website. Share your thoughts in the comments below of a time you've taken a big risk to move closer towards your dreams and goals. I'll go first. You can read my pinned comment at the top of this comment section. And to add more of a spark, if there has been someone in your life who has helped you along the way and encouraged you to grow and better yourself, shout them out in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this second episode of Tea Time with Nay, make sure you're subscribed and ready to receive notifications for next week's episode 3, Educating Ourselves One Sip at a Time. Ciao! For what is a woman? If we only focus on the ability of her bosom. And what is a man? If he can only take, but not give. Forget sugar and spice, look beyond those gray skies. I want wisdom and understanding, observation and education. Surround me with like-minded souls. All I want is to learn and wisen and grow. Push the negativity aside, just push it aside until it falls off that cliff where your dark thoughts are still hanging. Let us learn from one another and grow to help each other. Like a succulent in a dry place when it seems there is no rain. In a world full of darkness when all you feel is pain. From the tea bag into my cup, placed it on my coaster of life, adding all the flavors of us inside. Stirring our thoughts, something so divine. Educating ourselves, one sip at a time.